Hi, welcome back to the revolution. We have a lot to get into. September is hectic, so let's get to it. You might want to take notes because we're talking all about the retrogrades. There are quite a few planets here. Jupiter is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde, Uranus is retrograde, Saturn, and Pluto. And then on September 9th, Mercury will join them. So it's a month of chaos where the mutable energy is really the only way out. Even though it's an Earth season, you need that mutability to be able to get from point A to point B because it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be jumping back 10 steps, jumping forward 10 steps, and it will continue to do this all month until we get to the very last week. So, any plans that you have, anything that you are planning on pushing through right now, anything you need to get done in September, you need to come to terms with the fact that it's not going to go the way you want it to go, and it'll probably be held up way more than you would ever expect over things that it would never even occur to you would need to be fixed or tweaked. So, what are the things that change when we have so many planets in retrograde? Along with nothing going the way it's supposed to, plans get broken, rules change, your motivations change, your dreams, your energy to chase those dreams, everything changes. But the key is you can't panic. You have to get as relaxed as possible, get yourself in an environment that makes you feel as calm as possible, and realize that you can't get attached to anything that's going on right now because it's very, very temporary. Okay, there's nothing permanent about this season. Everything is in upheaval. So you just need to not panic based on the knowing that this is not how it's actually going to be. This is just for right now. On September 5th, Venus will move into Virgo with the Sun, and it's time to manage your money. Most of us have realized that we've overspent or overestimated our finances. Mercury in Libra and Venus in Virgo will work together to get your finances back on track, find you new ways to make money, find you new connections, new friendships, new acquaintances through which you can start to make this money. People we really want in our lives, but we don't really know where they belong or what capacity we can have them in our lives, and that becomes more clear. So if you really want someone in your life, especially if they're a Virgo, you have a chance now to pull them in because Mercury is going to start its retrograde motion in Libra, but it's going to move into Virgo, and it'll be there. It'll move, I think, on September 23rd, if I remember correctly, and it'll be in Virgo retrograde in its domicile until October 9th. So gathering the information, gathering the connections, going back into the cave and making the magic. Once again, Rumpelstiltskin shit. This is like Virgo season, right? So, Mercury being retrograde in Libra, right, on the 23rd, here it is, and then moves into Virgo beginning of October, October 9th. It'll be there until October 9th. So, we all have a tendency to want to be the adult and criticize others, but not be the adult when it comes to taking criticism. We want to act like children when it comes to people saying things to us, and we want to act like we know everything when it comes to everybody else, which makes all of us hard to be around, not just me. Okay, Mercury and Jupiter are in opposition until the 23rd, so there's a tendency to overspend, overindulge, push too hard on things, put too much into things, put too much weight on something someone has said, a look they gave you, put too much into someone being dismissive of you. They could just be having a bad day. Mercury and Jupiter in opposition is like the wrong messages can get blown up so easily. The wrong messages can be expanded so quickly. Wires getting crossed is basically what comes to mind. So, because so much is in retrograde, there's no point trying to look forward because there's nothing in the forward motion. There's nothing there, right? It's just a void space right now. But if you look backward, right? And you give into the pull of looking backward, you can get stuck. So you don't have many choices. You look out into the abyss and somehow be strong enough with your will to project something into this abyss. And even though you're not seeing any proof that it'll work, you're just continuously projecting into it because you need forward motion. The air signs feel me on this. Or you can look backward. And if you watch the Pisces video that I put up yesterday, it's really important. I feel like everyone should watch that video because this idea of nostalgia and moving backward, we all do it and we're all going to be experiencing it, Pisces more so than the rest of us, but I think we could all use that talking to. Okay, so those are your choices. Look backwards into what used to be and perhaps get stuck, perhaps start judging yourself, perhaps a lot of things, or move forward into a nothing space where nothing is decided, everything is in chaos, everything is retrograde, nothing makes sense. And sustain your will enough within that to keep yourself afloat and be okay if there's no forward movement. If you can be okay with treading water, if you can be okay with finding your balance on ground that is quaking, look what I'm asking you to do. Ski and do your taxes. You know, that's Virgo season. It's hard enough to find your balance, so when people start criticizing you and coming for you, which of course is always what happens in September, you will have this tendency to take it personally. And now they're talking about your ideals, now they're talking about your morals, now this is getting personal. What do you mean? Are you talking about how I was raised? Oh, now this is about my parents. Like, things can go super, super left. And it's because everyone is so antsy trying to keep their balance and being unable to keep their balance, falling down, getting up, falling down, and having people be like, look, you fell down, look, you fell down. After a while, it gets old. So people will start to break down their relationships mid-September because they're just irritated. This can happen on a national level, on a global level, personally. People just have had enough. They're done with the bullshit. Halfway through September, it's like, if you criticize me about one more thing, we're gonna fight. So Mars and Gemini just aids this. You know, if Gemini, listen, if you want to fight, I'll help. You know, Mars and Gemini is like, okay, let's fight, let's go. They're getting up before you are. You know, the energy's pulling you out of your chair. Like, oh, this person is attacking your principles. You're gonna let this go? You heard what they said? Don't do it. Don't listen to the Mars and Gemini. We're instigators. Don't listen to us. Now, if you take these attacks personally, you're going to get stuck fighting idiots over nothing. Or you can try to find the grain of truth in it. Every hater, every criticism, everything, some grain of truth is in there that you can find and say, you know what? That point I'll take, that I'll make better. Because I don't take stupid shit personally. So all this other yeah, whatever you said, however you judge me for it, whatever you've been doing, yeah, cool. I don't really care. That one thing, the kernel of truth in your little hating thing that you were doing, yeah, that I'll take. That I'll integrate and make myself better. Thank you. Great time to do that. But you have to tolerate a healthy amount of bullshit and hating to get to that. You know what I mean? And if you can't, you can't. Don't force yourself. If you're going to be violent, don't. You know. The retrograde motion makes us feel like Libra season is already here, even though it's only Virgo season, because we can't make up our minds about anything, which is very much a Libra thing. So you have an extended period coming up now, September, October, all the way into part of November, where we just don't know what we want, let alone we can't move forward. We don't even know what we want. It would be one thing if we wanted to move forward and we knew what direction. We don't know. We don't know. So, don't beat yourself up. I wrote it down, so it must be true. Don't beat yourself up. It's not you. There's nowhere to go. Look what's going on. There's nowhere to go. Just find yourself a quiet spot somewhere and let the panic wash over you. I'm serious. What do you think I'm doing right now? Find a quiet spot somewhere. For me, that happens to be Hollywood. Find a quiet spot and hide. And let the panic wash over you and watch things start to fall apart and just be like, okay, this is temporary. This is every planet under the sun going into retrograde at the same time. And then Mercury decides to be like, you know, the Loki element is like, haha, let's add this. Mercury's retrograde, Mars in Gemini. Everybody fight, you know. Round one, fight, you know. And it's Earth season, like I said, but the only thing that gets you through is this mutable energy, because Which makes sense. Earth season plus mutable energy is kind of Libra season. It makes sense. It makes sense because Libras are so chaotic. And this season is so chaotic, but it's ingenious because it's going to make you find new ways to do things. It's going to make you smarter. It will. You just got to give in to the chaos of it. Umber, how do you give in to the chaos of something? There's like Capricorns watching this. There's Sagittarius watching this. So we're like, no, we're too old for chaos. Don't tell me I need to give in to it. Yeah, well, you do, because chaos is that fertile ground of invention and ingenuity and innovation. There are things that can be found in chaos that you can't find in any other space. You need to be stripped down to the very, basic, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, before you can have those eureka moments. You go home and you get in the bathtub and you're like, water displacement, eureka. Like, sometimes you need to admit to yourself that you really don't know what's going on, and that's okay, and that basically you're just sheltering your emotions and sheltering your heart until things start to make more sense. So in the meantime, you can't take things personally. The way I am, I'm a Gemini snake. I'll just hide. Chinese sign snakes, we just hide. We'll just go away. You won't see us. Reptilian, like, we don't need anybody. You know what I mean? But depending on what your Chinese sign is, you're gonna react to this differently. You really will. And I'm thinking maybe I should do an additional video where I'm just talking about how the different animals react to the different transits. But this is one of those transits that, you really have to develop a deeper relationship with yourself, because everyone on the outside will seem like they're either being passive aggressive or just aggressive. Like, why are you in my shit? What happened? Who gave you permission? Why am I the topic? That's how everyone feels. Why am I the topic of conversation? I don't need this. I didn't ask for this. Okay? So, speaking of which, between the 15th and the 18th, you have these Mars-Venus transits that are so troublesome, and little tiny conversations can turn into the biggest arguments, and these are expensive, serious arguments. So anybody mixie that between the 15th and the 18th, that they're like, meh, 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 or they want to text you, or they want to call you, literally between the 15th and the 18th, you're hollow man. You're invisible man. You don't exist. You're just off the grid. 15th to the 18th, just write it in your book, write it in your phone. Those are your invisible days for the month. Disappear, do your own thing, go to a fucking museum, turn your phone off, read a book, do whatever. Just leave people alone and have people leave you alone. Because whether it's the person you walk outside, the person on the train, the person in the car with you, whoever it is, they're going to want to fight. And it's Mars and Venus. It's like the fight of all fights. Right? It's just the energy. It soaks into everything. So no thank you. 15th to the 18th, peace out. Or schedule a project. Schedule something that you know that you'll be totally immersed on your own in something. End of Virgo season. Let's go out in the cave with a bang. Right? That pun was actually intended. Never mind. That's a private joke. Anyway, after the 18th, things will get easier. Okay, so you have this period of stillness in the cave at the end of Virgo season, and then after the 18th, things get a lot easier. Mars and Saturn get together after the 18th, and they start giving you real advice, real direction. All of a sudden, on the 18th, all this confusion. Oh, the signs are moving every which way. There's clouds everywhere. Oh my God, what's going on with my money? Panic. And the 18th, Mars and Saturn come in and start directing traffic, and they're like, all right, stop, you go, come on. And within a couple of days, you're like, okay, everything makes sense again. But you got to get to the 18th. You got to make it there. Okay, now, if you see people starting to go left, now this is a little bit of a sensitive subject, especially because we're in Virgo season, so the Virgos are not going to take this well. If you see someone starting to go left, please mind your business. Leave them alone. Let them have their process, no? You don't need to save anybody. You know what you need to do right now? You need to focus on yourself. It's not a season of martyrdom or sacrifice or Samaritan work. Just take care of yourself. Anyone who's going left right now needs to go left for whatever reason, and that's their process and that's their story, and you need to let them have it. Okay? So don't rob them. Everyone is on their road, living out their journey. don't rob people of their journey by wanting to step in because it makes you feel important in your own life. This is heavy Virgo vibes. Don't do that. If you want to help someone silently and book. Get out. Like, helping people, doing charity, anything like that, it's not for public consumption. It's not so other people will know. It's not supposed to be done to make you feel good. It's supposed to be done as an obligation. That's your obligation. As someone who lives in the world and makes money in the world, it's your obligation to give to the poor. It's your obligation to give to charity. It's your obligation to do for others. But don't take this as an opportunity to get up on stage and get all this attention because look at the good thing you did. Because we have a tendency to be this way in Virgo season, and it's sickening, and we have to fight it. Everyone has a tendency to be this way. You have to fight it, okay? Because it's just distasteful, right? It's a deeply personal time. And that's why it's distasteful, because you can rob people of their deeply personal journey by getting in their shit, because then people are going to be like, wow, look how great you are. Look how much you helped. Meanwhile, the person you're helping is like suffering twice as much because now they got to deal with you in their space all the time. Yeah. Okay. On the 22nd, the sun will move into Libra. On the 29th, Venus will follow. So you have a combination of all the things that you planned out and that you jumped into, right? In your head, you romantically, money-wise, you have all these plans that you're making from now until the 29th. From now until the 29th, that's a great thing for you to do. Not just to hide, but to use your imagination. Go crazy. Just think of all the things you want, all the things you want to do. Well, I was talking to someone the other day. I was talking to a friend. I was like, easiest way to manifest money, spend it in your head. You know, as soon as I get it, I'm going to give this much percentage to charity, this much I'm going to give to my parents, this much I'm going to use to do this, and just keep spending it in your head. The money doesn't have any choice but to show up because you keep making this like obvious hole where it's like expected for the money to be, and the money's like, am I supposed to, I'm sorry, what, is this my seat? Yeah, it's your seat, sit the fuck down, you know. So all the things, if you use this time, instead of getting caught up in this mutable retrograde chaos that's going on everywhere, right? Instead of getting caught up, be like the mutable signs, be above it. Like, yeah, we see the chaos. You don't think that we see the chaos? We see the chaos. It's not like Gemini don't see the chaos. It's not like Virgo, Sag, Pisces, we don't see the chaos. We see the chaos. It just doesn't intimidate us. Because we know that we're smarter than the chaos. We know that we can live in the chaos. We can move within it. Because we're this and we're that. We can go this way and that way. You got to learn how to be that way right now. And if you can do that, what you'll end up doing is doing what we do, which is separating from all the chaos, getting into a kind of solitary space and doing the imagining. Doing so much of the imagining, getting so focused on what you want, feeling it out completely. What is it that I really want? What is it that really turns me on? Focusing there, being quiet, being alone, seeing the chaos, not participating, not caring, not taking it personal, not freaking out no matter what comes in the mail or what email or what text. Until the 22nd, you're like, no. Then you start to pick a direction. Then things start to cascade into reality the way that you've been planning them in your head. So basically, it's a time of extreme manifestation. You could put it that way. The chaos, the retrogrades, everything, it gives you enormous power. But generally what people do with that power is they look backwards, they get upset, they're afraid to look forward into the nothingness. Why do you think the forward is nothingness right now? Because you can make it anything you want right now. That's not scary. That's only scary because of every scary movie and all this other bullshit that you've ever seen that makes you afraid of the dark. The dark is not scary. The dark is where everything happens. The void space is where all life comes from. Don't be afraid to move forward into that. That's where you can make what you want. And the last thing, and this is where we need to talk a little bit. Everyone has a point in their life when they need to grow up. And what I mean by grow up is to develop a healthy relationship between you and your responsibilities, you and the things that you need to do. Now, most of us have been hit with something in the past year or so where we've realized that now we need to be responsible. Now we need to step up and develop a personable, if not amicable, relationship with our responsibilities. We need to be excited and happy about growing up. We need to be excited and happy about taking the reins or manning the helm, if you will. If you are unable to do that at this time, if you have perhaps avoided it all your life, this may be a really uncomfortable conversation. I appreciate that. But it still needs to happen. And so you can be aware that you're not ready and take the steps forward anyway, or you can hang back and get dragged and get called a chump in the process. Either way, you gotta grow up. Everybody does. And this happens to be the moment. So, Virgo season doesn't ever disappoint. And once again, it throws us into the deep end. The place where manifestations are so simple it's terrifying. A place where you can basically read anyone but are too vulnerable to be read yourself. A place of such chaos and panic because everything that should move forward is moving backward, that you can easily lose your footing. And if you do, when you do, just remember, it's temporary. Find a safe spot, crawl into it, do your thinking, your dreaming, your imagining, and lay low. Don't listen to the bullshit. Don't take it personal. Take what you need, leave the rest. Don't let this season get under your skin. It's not worth it. Before you know it, we'll be late into September, in Libra season. Things will start to make sense. Mars and Saturn will take over, and you'll be fine. Don't freak out. It's just the transits. Good? I love you. I will see you in the videos. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start giving you a list of the things that we're going to talk about in extended before I finish the general. Because there's too many things being missed that are important in the extended that aren't making it to you guys. So maybe if you know, then you can be like, oh, actually that I need to know, so let me go watch that. So we'll be doing it like that. Always evolving, always getting better. Love you.